We can match the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ices on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse, it's in your soul. Cincinnati heartbeats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, Iceman Jeff Trunapole, and as always, I bring you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by Priority Lawn and Landscaping. It's still snowing. Well, there's snow on the ground, but eventually the grass is going to grow, flowers are going to bloom, and you're going to need a lawn and landscaping person to take care of all that for you. I highly recommend Priority Lawn and Landscaping. You can give me a call at 513-430-6114. Get that paver patio put in, that retaining wall, get your flower beds cleaned out, get your grass cut, whatever you need. Priority Lawn and Landscaping, 513-430-6114. What is up to everybody in the chat? We got Stranger in there, Jerome's in there, Brad's in there, Robert's in there. Robert, I think as you said, oh yeah. I'm not sure whose dinner date you're talking about. I'm going to eat dinner. I don't have a date yet. My date and Mrs. Ice and Princess Ice are out shopping, so I'm not sure what date you're talking about. Anyway, Crib Creep is in there. What is going on, guys? All right, before we get into this, news of the day, Friday, February 21st, 2025. The Bengals are releasing people, which if you stay tuned to this show, or you follow Neil, or you follow G Money, or any of us Bengal people, we told you they're going to start releasing people, and Rankins we knew that was going to happen halfway through the season. So they're releasing him. Now, this is per Paul Dannard. Since the Bengals release Sheldon Rankins. Rankins is one of the many veterans on the Bengals roster likely to be let go this offseason. O-line Alex Kappa, D-line Sam Hubbard, linebacker Jermaine Pratt. He's the most certain of the group. The 31-year-old disappointed when healthy this season, only managed 1 sack and 4 pressures. Then missed the second half of the year with an illness. Cincinnati gave Rankins a 2-year, $24.5 million deal last year, but will save $9.6 million against the cap. He has a roster bonus due March 17th that he will not see. So there's $9.6 million we just got added to our already humongous salary cap that we have. So everybody who keeps telling me that we're not going to sign these people, y'all can suck my, you know what? Because it's going to happen. Because I'm sick and tired of hearing this stuff. Oh, they can sign them. They're going to sign T. They're going to sign Trey. They're going to sign Jamar. Everybody who wants this. They're also going to sign free agents too. Because I got somebody on TikTok going, well, if they sign T and they sign Jamar, and they can't sign free agents. Yes, they can. They're going to have plenty of money. Oh, and by the way, did the salary cap? It went up yesterday. Hold on. Let me get this back out here again. Salary cap went up. Let's see here. Last year it was $255 million. This year it's $277 million. That's a big jump. 200. That's huge. That's more money. You guys are anyway. You people on ESPN, Harry Douglas, cheap out. Get the hell out of here. All right, Reds tomorrow. We got a first split squad game of the spring training. So baseball is happening. Also, the Bearcats are back in action tomorrow. They take on TCU at 12 o'clock. I think that's it. I think it's the news of the day. Let's get to my two guests. They're waiting in the waiting room. I'm just going to pop them on both at the same time. I got to play their intros and then pop them on. It's going to be a quick thing. All right, see? How we do this. All right, let's get this. Let's get to Neil Myers and Game on G Money. What's up, boys?
What's going on? How are you guys?
I'm having a wonderful Friday here. Loving being right. I just enjoy being right. I mean, it's a fun thing when you're right, when you keep telling everybody that the Bengals are going to have money and they're going to cut people to create more money and they're going to sign T. Higgins. Anyway, it's just fun being right. How are you, Game On?
Neil Ice, what's going on, brothers? How we doing?
Good.
Are you enjoying
just
the
being a dad over here, man. Just being a dad over here, watching kids, trying to be on here at the same time. It's a beautiful day. Let's get into it.
Awesome. So, what's your guys' thoughts here? I titled this your wish list for free agents. Now I'll put this out. I don't think he's actually released yet, but one guy would be on my wish list would be this guy, Joey Bosa. Now I don't think he's released yet, but the talks are that they're going to. And somebody was like, "Well, you're going to have to give him a sweet deal to come here." Well, I'm not really sure how sweet a deal. I mean, you want to go win a ring. You want to be on the other side of Trey Hendrickson. And, oh, by the way, we got a guy named Jackpot Joey, your former college teammate, who you're still pretty close with, is our quarterback. So I think that's a pretty good incentive to come here. What do you guys think about that, Neil?
Yeah, I think that's a great opportunity. If it's me and I'm Mike Brown and this staff, I mean, obviously I don't believe the cut will come until the June 1st because I believe that's when his cap will drop. But it can't hurt you to make a call considering Trey Hendrickson got, 95% of your pressures last year. You're going to need help on the edge. Teams are going to start setting two on Trey on the opposite side. And honestly, another edge rusher is something they need. Yeah, considering they haven't hit on anything in the draft on the edge rusher position or the pass rusher position. Sheldon Rankins was a complete bust this past season. And think about it. You get Trey Hendrickson on one who's coming off 2 seasons straight where he is top 2 in sacks, obviously led the league in sacks this year with almost 18. Then you add a guy who's Joey Bosa. I know Bosa's had a lot of health issues in the past, but it's worth taking a chance on, especially when he played his college ball right up the road here in Columbus. It's worth taking the shot. And if you're Mike Brown, with how much the cap room that you now have, it's definitely worth it. So, in my opinion, that would be a phone call I would make, in all honesty.
Game On, what do you got?
Yeah, so Joey, a longtime friend of Joe Burrow, I mean, it makes a lot of sense that they would hook up again. You would bring on the guy who's good friends with Joe Burrow. I mean, when you take a look at what Joey Bosa's done in the league, really the one thing is health, right? I mean, he has everything that you look for in a pass rusher. It's just about staying healthy. Where could we work on that? Luckily, the Bengals are that type of team to take a chance at a guy who's not so healthy in the past to see if he could be healthy in the future. Joey Bosa would actually be a really, really good pairing with Trey Hendrickson. And I think Joe Burrow might send a text there just to gauge a little interest, see if he might want to come play in Cincinnati. Yeah. The money might not be, top of the line, but maybe a 1-year deal, Ice, to kind of get us back on track. And
one year, 9.6, something like that.
I mean, it's basically a 1-year prove it deal because he hasn't been healthy. I mean, you can't not take a risk there. You have to kind of reach out.
This is similar to the Golladay conversation. Remember Golladay coming out? I know. We're like, hey, give him a 1-year deal with Burrow. He'll get him right, and then the following year he makes a bag elsewhere. This makes a lot of sense, though.
Yeah, I like that. That's number one on my wish list. The other one will be Khalil Mack, which is his teammate out in, I almost said San Diego, L.A. With if the Bengals, which they're going to release or trade Pratt. He's already said he wants to be traded, so they're trying to renegotiate with him to take less money. He doesn't want to take less money, so they're going to cut him or trade him. Khalil Mack's another one. Now, I know he's older, but it's another guy that, he's older. He's still got some stuff left in the tank. He could be a guy you could get for, 2-year deal, something like that. What do you guys think? Go ahead. Or I'll go. You, G Money, you go first on that one.
Yeah, with Khalil, I think it's just about where are the Bengals at with this, older player mentality, right? 30 plus, we don't typically invest too much money in it, so it's got to be worth.
They got
the
changed.
player.
They got to change that.
We got to change it. We got to change it because the Bengals are operating the rest of the structure of their roster with undrafted free agents, whereas a team like the Ravens, they're signing this guy and the other guy, and then they're coming in and giving them 5 to 6 sacks. So I'm all for it, Ice. It's just depending upon, will they bend the knee there to allow, a guy in his 33, 34 age to come on this team.
Exactly. Now, got comments here. Robert talking about Bosa here. Would you guys drop your comments in there of wish list for a free agent for the Bengals that you guys got out there? But he said bring a Bosa may stump Miles Murphy. Not a wise move. They're going to have like they're bringing somebody in. I mean,
yeah, they're going to bring.
They have to bring somebody in. So yeah, I mean, it's Miles Murphy's going to have to either deal with it or they're going to have to because they need. So you can't rely on Miles Murphy being your other pass rusher because he. Yeah. I hope he proves it, but he hasn't proven it. So they're going to bring somebody in.
Yeah, and for me too, in that kind of aspect of the Khalil Mack situation, another name to keep an eye on. If you're Cincinnati, I'm making a call to Dre Greenlaw coming out of San Francisco. That's another name to keep an eye on. Obviously, similar situation to what Joey Bosa's in, but obviously after tearing his Achilles in a weird freak injury during the Super Bowl 2 years ago, wasn't fully healthy this year, but now you give him another full offseason to get fully healthy. That's another deal that if you put him alongside Logan Wilson, I think that's a top 10 linebacker room right there, a top 10 linebacker pairing because those guys are both very good in the run, can also drop back in the pass. So I think those are two good options there. But overall, I think Cincinnati, back to Miles Murphy, they're gonna make a move at the edge. Everybody knows that, whether that's the draft, or whether that's free agency.
Draft, hopefully.
I think it's free agency, guys. And you look at the two youngest guys coming out in this free agency. It's Joseph Osai and Azeez Ojulari. I think Osai, the structure is not going to be there because of the guaranteed money. Azeez, though, coming off a 6-sack season, and he got hurt midway through the year. I think, bringing him on the team, giving him 50% snap share, giving Miles 50% snap share, it's a win-win for both of those guys. And you're increasing the snaps for Azeez over a period of time in his career, as well as you're giving Miles an opportunity to show he can be that guy in a rotation.
Yeah, exactly. And I would love to get Osai back, but I kind of wrote that off because he's David Mulligetta guy, and we don't sign contracts with him.
You know who represents Azeez?
Who?
Former Bengal John Thornton.
There you go.
There you go.
Perfect. Bring him in. That sounds good to me.
Now we're talking.
Because the thing is, it's not only that they need to bring one, they need to bring multiple guys in because we need for Trey too. We need a better backup for Trey so he can get less snaps, which he is 30. He is going to get older. And that's one thing that drove me nuts about Lou is he ran them into the ground. I mean, he didn't really. Robert brought up Miles Murphy, and I was screaming from the rooftops, "Can we have Miles Murphy get some playing time, get some snaps?" And he never would. He ran Sam Hubbard and Trey Hendrickson into the ground. So we need another guy on behind Hendrickson as well too. So you need a rotation of guys to come in there and keep them healthy. So it's not going to be just the opposite side of Trey. It's going to be Trey's side as well.
Yeah, and I think that's too a good point that you mentioned. They literally ran Sam Hubbard into the ground last season when he wasn't fully healthy. And if I remember, it was a grade 3 hamstring tear. It wasn't something that was just, it's a pulled hammy or whatnot. It was a tear. And he played all season on it. And then the knee injury happened. So, I mean, overall, everybody kind of knows the writing on the wall is there for Sam Hubbard. Now, whether they give him the hometown hero, which personally, I hope they don't. I hope they just part ways, thank him for what he did and kind of take the next chapter. But overall, with G Money, I'm there for Azeez Ojulari too, because if those who remember, if we follow the Bearcats, he lit Cincinnati up back in 2020 in the Peach Bowl, which I got the first-hand up close and personal look of that. But, I mean, he's a freak guy, a freak athlete who's now coming off a career season. And, I mean, let's be honest, nobody wants to play in New York right now. So his agent's probably like, yep, let's get out of here, go get you some money elsewhere. And Cincinnati's not far. You're playing for a playoff spot, potentially Super Bowl.
Get that ring, baby. Go get that ring.
Exactly. I just think with Murphy, he's a disruptor, right? He hasn't gotten to the quarterback, but he is a disruptor.
Yeah, he gets pressure. He just doesn't finish.
Exactly.
What I'm saying.
And so you pair him with somebody who can get home. You pair him with somebody that has the ability to get to the quarterback. You don't take a chance on maybe one of these guys in the draft early. You go out and you get a guy that you know can get you 6 sacks on a season. Come in, you can get that production out of him. And then you go and maybe you sign that big interior guy that we haven't talked about yet. But I think that can really get after the quarterback and allow Trey and Azeez to just, get home.
There you go. I want to bring up Travis here. Feels like Azeez is the perfect edge fit right now. Allows you to prefer the target of Nolan at 17 and get the edge midday to early day 3. That's an interesting thing. Is if they do sign an edge, that would pivot, I think, of who they take at 17, which they might more pivot to an interior, a 3-tech or something like that, a stud there, if they get a edge that they feel they can count on. So that's where I'm always like, everybody keeps doing 27 mock drafts, which you can, they're fun. But to me, you don't know until the free agency plays out and all that stuff. So what's your guys' thoughts on that? Would they pivot right there if they get a good edge in the free agency?
Yeah, I think they will, because if you're looking at the latest mock projections right now, I'm looking at the latest one from NFL.com. At 17, they have Cincinnati taking Alabama's offensive guard, Tyler Booker, who is a physical specimen that is massive.
He's the one. Is he the one that's a tackle that would move in the guard? Is that who that is? Or is he already a guard?
He's a straight guard, 6'5", 330.
Okay.
I think that's what you kind of need there at that spot, especially with how bad those 2 interior guards were last season for Cincinnati. So if you go out there and you land a good edge rusher, whether that's a Joey Bosa, Azeez Ojulari, whoever that might be to complement Trey, I think that immediately turns your pivot for your first-round draft pick to be an offensive lineman.
Good.
I think also, right, if you make a splash in the interior, right, like say you go out and you spend money on an Osa Odighizuwa, or you get a Milton Williams, right, and you pay top dollar, then that kind of gives you the flexibility at 17 to say, you know what, we don't have to take that pass rushing D tackle in the first round. We're really focused more on a guy that can maybe do everything. That could be a trade back scenario if, Tyler Booker's no longer there. That can be a take. Maybe Kenneth Grant is the option there, on a little bit of a trade back, or maybe you decide to take him at that point if he wows in the combine. So there's just a lot of options right there. And I know a lot of people have been talking about Amenawari. We haven't talked safety yet. I know everybody's fixated on Watts, but guys 6'3" coming out, can run a 4.35. Can jump himself out of the gym, play in the nickel and the deep. I mean, that's what we've kind of been missing in this defense. Like, let's leave ourselves with a little bit of flexibility in the first round. And the Bengals, let me just say this, they have, if we go back on all the cuts, we're about 150 in cash. With the 7 to 8% conservative over the cap that they've been spending in the past, we should be around 295 to 300 million. So we can expect almost 150 million this year in cash to be spent.
Exactly. That's why dude, it's like talking to a wall to some of these people that come back at me or clap back at me on Twitter or on my channel or TikTok or wherever you want to leave comments at. I'm like,
you want to know it's funny too? Hate to interrupt you, Jeff. When the people who clap back at all of us who know sports very well and like do this for a living, it's always the people where they have a name and then it's a whole bunch of numbers. Those are always the people that clap back. And we always joke around with it at UC. We're like, oh, here comes bot Josh Smith, 2,556 in the DMs again. They got like 2 followers and they're just saying some nonsense. And it's like, okay, guys, really, you're just here to drop some not crazy nonsense and just continue on with your day.
Exactly. Shout out to Fuzzy Boss. Appreciate the $5 super chat. Would you trade Trey and the 2nd round pick for Myles Garrett? Yes. Garrett's 2025 cap. I don't think the Browns will do it, but yes, Garrett's 2025 cap hit is 19.7 million. Browns have been looking to move him. I don't know if the Browns are looking to move him. He wants to move. I don't know if the Browns are actually, but absolutely in a heartbeat, I would do that. But there's no way in hell the Browns are ever going to trade us Myles Garrett.
His dead cap is $35 million. So they're not going to move him unless they have a plan to be able to relinquish that elsewhere.
Yeah.
And if they move on from Garrett, Denzel Ward has already came out and said, look, I'm not going to be here if Garrett's not here, right? I want to play for a team that has an opportunity to win playoff games and potentially get to a Super Bowl. I think at that point, you just kind of blow it up if you trade Garrett.
And I don't think that Cleveland's stupid enough to trade him within the division, especially with how good the AFC North is. Cleveland would, I mean, the front office has made some horrendous decisions over the years, so it would not surprise me if that trade did happen.
That'd be great.
However, I don't see them trading Miles Murphy to the Bengals, the Steelers, or the Ravens.
And football, I'm not trying to laugh at you. I would love it. I mean, I
would personally love it too, though.
It'd be great, but I don't. There's no way. I mean, like I said, I don't even know if the Browns are actually going to trade him because he wants to be traded. I don't know if the Browns
Diana Rossini, she came out and she said, this is a not right now situation, but it could become a situation when it comes draft time and the Browns are looking to move up high to pair their quarterback with maybe somebody. You know, this could be like a Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter type situation. If they're both there, I don't know. Something to think about.
This is interesting. Crypt Keeper here. Let's see. He says, my name is Don Cacarocha, by the way, if anyone's interested. I only speak the truth about the Bengals and Bearcats. Well, thanks, Don. Crypt Keeper. I appreciate it. I finally know your name now. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to make. I think they're going to make a subtle splash in free agency. I'll put it to that way. I mean, I'm talking about Joey Bosa. I would love to get him. Probably not going to happen. It's probably more along the lines of what Game On is saying, and it's not a bad thing because that's what the Eagles did. I mean, they drafted very well. They didn't sign other than Saquon. Well, yeah, Saquon, but defensively, like they added guys like the Bengals have done, like Trey Henderson. When we got him, he wasn't NFL Player of the Year, Trey Henderson. He was a special teams guy that, you know, we're not sure if he was going to translate to be get as many sacks as he did because he'd be on a different team. Well, they hit that one out of the ballpark. That's what they need to get back to in free agents again this year, is hitting those, I don't want to say second-tier guys, but the guys that have a bigger potential, you know, all down the line.
If you're looking at the free agency market and you're trying to decipher what are the Bengals going to do, just look at the youngest players out there that are either hurt or they're coming off maybe a year that's not so great and the year prior it was really good. Plenty of guys fit into this category, and the Bengals have taken their swings. I think a lot of people have mentioned Will Fries, Azeez Ojulari. On the interior, Tashawn Wharton is young. Like there's a lot of guys that fit that young category that are ascending players. That's what the Bengals are looking at. And for cheap, to where they know, hey, there's still an ascension here, and we can get them for low dollar value on the output that we're going to get from the player.
Exactly. Now, what is your thoughts? I asked both of you guys your thoughts on I have to look this up. Your thoughts on free agents as far as safeties out there. Is there one that's worth potentially going out and getting there if they do release Geno Stone?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I know Jeff and I kind of talked before G Money jumped in, but Javon Holland would be nice. Obviously, you're going to have to drop a pretty penny to get him. But, I mean, look at what Cincinnati has. I mean, you're guaranteeing starting time if they elect to move on from Geno Stone, which there was an interview that came out the other day. I'm trying to remember who it was, but it sounds like Cincinnati plans to keep Geno Stone and Jordan Battle as their two starting safeties. So that's some good news, but I would not be surprised to see them go out and add a depth guy or somebody
they got to add to that room.
Experience to come in and push those guys behind them.
How about a little Derek Forrest, huh? A little UC product back in action.
Defo being back in Cincinnati would be crazy.
Exactly. Hey, I love to bring UC guys home. Trayvon Mulrig also in that category, coming off a really strong year with the Raiders. I think he could make a lot of sense to you. Think Andre? Yeah, go ahead.
I would say, what about Xavier Woods from the
Panthers? Xavier Woods. I think once you go to the Panthers, I just stopped considering.
We might not. Yeah, we took Von Bell back and it didn't.
We tried and errored that one, and look where it got us.
Davian Clowney's probably the only one. Pinnock from the Giants, I think he's kind of an underrated player you can look at. And then Andre Sisco from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think he had a pretty okay year where you could build on it. These are young guys that I'm talking about that you could get for low-level deals, $5-6 million. You could cut Stone. With the money that you would get back from Stone, you could go invest in these kids.
Which I'll ask you guys this. I'm not completely sold that you have to cut Stone. I think he is good if you put him in the right situations, and if Battle steps up and plays to his potential, I think Stone could potentially get back to where he was with Baltimore. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, I think you definitely kind of saw improvements over the last, 5-6 games from Geno Stone. So, I mean, if you can continue to have him at that kind of rate, but on top of it, new DC, Al Golden's DC. So it's going to be kind of an adjustment to see how these guys really kind of fit into what he's trying to do as a defense, right? So, I mean, overall, Geno Stone had the one good year in Baltimore, and then he kind of had to, from what it sounds like, the Lou Anarumo had to kind of simplify things for those guys to really understand it. And once it simplified even more than what it already was, that's when plays started to get made. But overall, I think they rock with Geno for one more year. And if something happens, worst comes to worst, they cut him next year. With, especially in that moment, the cap space expected to go up again. So overall, but I just don't see them releasing him right now, especially if they're going to trade Jermaine Pratt. I don't see that move happening.
Again, another young guy. They're hoping ascends, right? The two big areas I would say where I need to see Stone improve is being in the run defense, being able to tackle in space. I mean, just something where it was just so up and down last year, and reacting to the play, right? When you know that you need to be in that spot, being able to react, the instincts, right? We've seen him too many times. He was really slow on reacting, and he doesn't have the speed to be able to make that up in the NFL. So those are the two areas where I really need to see him improve. I'm excited to see what he can do with Al Golden. Personally, I think there's probably more athletic dudes that are out there that could get the job done a little bit better than he can, that are young, that are in the free agency market. But the Bengals have made it clear that they're going to keep him, and so we'll see what happens.
All right, G-Money, you gotta get going here soon, or you got a little bit more time?
I got about 10 minutes.
All right. So let's get into the guard discussion here, because I do think I would like to see them sign at least one free agent guard. Now, Trey Smith is the big one. That's for Kansas City. I don't think they're going to go with him. I think he is out of the price range. We've mentioned former Bengal Kevin Zeitler, who'd be great. Tavon Jenkins would be another one that I think would be good. Will Fry. What do you guys think? What will be the free agent guards that are out there? Mekhi Becton, we could have got him last year. We didn't. But anyway, who do you guys think?
Go ahead, G-Money.
Yeah, so the two guys I would target, Tevin Jenkins, one. I wanted him in the draft. We ended up going with Jackson Carman. That didn't work out well.
That was a great pick.
I mean, Tevin actually had a really good year last year. I think he was in the 70s in his PFF grade, one of the lower sacks given up. I think he would be such an upgrade from what we had in Cordell Volson. And I think, too, with that, you pair him with a guy like Will Fries. I think both those guys can be gotten for less than $10 million. Tevin, even though he comes off a big year, I don't think he's the top guy in the market. I think that's going to be Trey Smith. I would consider him second tier, maybe third tier.
Trey Smith's going to get like $50 million. We're not touching
think if you can get him, and let's see what Spotrac has the market value right at $10 million. If you can replace Alex Kappa, with somebody like that, Will Fries and a Tevin Jenkins, you're cooking with grease. And now we don't need to talk about guard in the draft into early rounds. You afford yourself the opportunity where, hey, you can grab a guard if he's there, right?
Right.
So you can get a Booker if he's there, but you don't need to, right? I think that's where the Bengals should be. They can't pigeonhole themselves, Ice, into a spot where last year they had to take McKinley Jackson in the third round. They can't get to that spot again.
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's where I'm at. And with this draft being more defensive line heavy, you have a better chance of getting it right than you do with guard. There are good guards in there, but there's not as many as on the defense line. Neil, what do you got?
Yeah, obviously everyone is going to be talking about Trey Smith, but unfortunately for the people who follow the NFL extensively, he's got very deep ties to Chicago because his girlfriend is from Chicago, lives in Chicago, close to the organization from a couple of posts I've seen. That would probably be where Trey Smith would end up. However, if you can get him to Cincinnati, that would be huge. But right there, I'm right there with G-Money. A guy like Zach Fries or Tevin Jenkins, I mean, you look at him, obviously Tevin Jenkins has kind of struggled over recent years, but he's bounced around from right tackle to left guard all over throughout the last 4 years throughout his rookie deal. So, I mean, overall, he has experience inside and out, but the problem was for him to stay healthy over those 3 years. And then you talk about Will Fries. I mean, Will Fries, during his rookie contract, he probably was one of the best guards out of that class until he got hurt in week 5 this past year. So, I mean, that kind of knocked him out. It would be interesting to see how he responds after a broken tibia that required surgery. So, overall, that would be a huge sign for Cincinnati if they were able to make that happen. But, I mean, you look at his PFF grade before the injury, 86.8 PFF grade overall on 268 snaps. You can't really go wrong with that on that kind of limited production there. And Cincinnati needs somebody at the guard position because, man, Alex Capo was awful last year. Cordell Volson was awful. I remember, I think it was a couple of our shows, Jeff. I was sitting there looking. I'm like, yep, all right, let's replay the Cordell Volson getting just handcuffed. Let's replay Alex Capo and his 10.2 pass grade. Garbage, by the way, just flat out garbage. But think about it. Now you go out there and you land one of those two guys. Mekhi Becton would be huge. I know everyone was kind of.
We had him last year. We let him go.
Yeah, we let him go.
But the thing last year for Becton was he was never able to stay healthy in New York.
Right.
Now you get a full healthy season, which gets him a Super Bowl ring. Now, it would be cool for him to come to Cincinnati and then be back on campus at UC, kind of coaching some of these guys up with his old college head coach in Scott Satterfield. I would love to see that. However, I think the Will Fries and the Tevin Jenkins names make too much sense for a Cincinnati target compared to these bigger name guys like a Trey Smith or a Mekhi Becton.
And then how about this, guys? Then we take Luke Kandra in the 4th round. You know, it would back up, but, you know, come in, compete, lunch pail type guy, elite run blocking, and a solid pass blocker. We haven't had an elite run blocker at guard in a really long time. That's what Fries presents. That's what Kandra presents. He'd battle it out with Tevin Jenkins, and who knows, maybe he even wins the job. But that would be something that I would absolutely be on board with. Bring Kandra back to Cincinnati. You know he wants to be here.
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is we've got to get this run game going. Somebody mentioned in the chat getting Nick Chubb. I'm not sold on Nick Chubb because of his injury, but I'd probably kick the tires and check him out, but I don't know if I'd sign it. But my point is, because Joe Burrow has said this a lot of times, that we didn't finish games last year, which he's right. We had the lead and we lose them. Well, how's a good way to finish games, guys? Run the ball consistently. And like I said, we're never going to be a running offense, but we got to be able to run the ball when we need to run the ball. And that starts with, I think Chase Brown's a good running back. I would like to add another big guy in there, but it's guards up the middle. When you're trying to kill the clock, you're going up the middle. You're not really, I mean, you will go outside, but you need to go up the middle and knock some guys on their ass. And that's what we need from our offensive line. Now, hopefully we got this badass MMA mother effer as our offensive line coach, and he's going to help them whoop some ass and move some people. But that's what's got to happen this year is to finish stuff out. That's where I am big on. We have to get a guard, at least a veteran guard. I know Crypt Keeper on here is like he doesn't want a rookie. I'm okay with one rookie. I don't want 2 rookies as a guard. I want
you can't put anybody that has been undrafted at the offensive line position in front of Joe Burrow. Flat out. You can't do it.
Agreed.
Exactly.
And also, too, back on the running back aspect, Jeff, you mentioned you would like to see them sign a running back. Technically, if Cincinnati was smart in this situation, they would find a way to snip the ties with Zach Moss, and you could get a couple extra bucks there on the salary cap. I know that's not one many people are talking about.
I think he's on the list. He's on the list because according to Dan, I'll put this up here real quick because this is what Daner put out there earlier in the week. Last week.
Okay, yeah. So he's is on there.
So it would save you about $3.5 million if you cut Moss, which I'm like, yes, cut him. I think that's
absolutely. You have to at this point, right?
Yeah.
He was never going to fit Cincinnati's scheme. And then when he was healthy, he didn't do anything. He didn't perform.
Right.
But on top of it, right now, you go out, you get Khalil Herbert in a draft or in the trade deadline. Chase Brown has looked fantastic. You're going to need a bell cow back behind him. But Zach Moss was never the answer. You and I have said that from the initial signing.
Yeah.
It was never going to work. So you might as well just cut the ties now, take some extra salary money, and let's go have some fun in free agency, boys.
Exactly. G-Money, you got something?
Yeah, on the Moss stuff, an internal source did indicate to me that he might be back.
Really?
So take that. Yeah, we'll see.
Even with a neck injury?
That would mean that the neck injury is not as severe as what it was originally thought to be.
Yeah.
But I do know that the Bengals really did value him as kind of that third down pass blocking ability back that, is added as an extra lineman. And you kind of need that kind of guy, late in the fourth quarter when you're trying to come back, to have a guy that can take on a D end or a guy that, can plug up the middle and allow Burrow to kind of, dissect the defense, keep his eyes downfield, I think is pretty important. At the price tag, hey, look, I expect him to be cut, but we'll see. Somebody's telling me that he might be back.
Well, I mean, like I said, I still want to add to that room. My man crush, Scatterboo. That dude.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I went and saw him. He played UC. I didn't notice him there, but I fell in love with that dude.
Him there, all right. Yeah. I noticed him.
Well, not as much as I did when he freaking played against Texas. Holy crap, that was unbelievable.
Standing by him. So right there, Steve McCann, Scatterboo, when they went through warmups, obviously our Rivals Connect was like, hey, get some video of this guy, send it to me, do some work. He is a freaking tank. Like, he is like, everyone talks about that video of Saquon squatting, what was it, 650, 700 pounds a couple years ago? Yeah. I promise you, Cam Scatterboo will squat more than him at the combine. I promise.
If you were to give him a comparable in NFL history, like what would it be? Like when I think of big, bruising, able to win in the short yardage, I think of Allstott.
Yeah,
that's
Allstott.
Right, man. Like he was one of my favorite running backs growing up. What do you think of, Neil, when you look at Scatterboo?
Yeah, that's a great comparison, honestly.
Great comparison, yeah.
But I mean, this is a guy who doesn't have the height. It's all lower legs, as you guys saw.
Legs are freaking tree trunks, Neil. They're this big.
His legs are bigger than my whole body. I'm 135
It's the contact balance for me, Neil, to like fight through the contact and just keep on going. I think in the 40, like people, they may be upset about his time. He might run like a 4.7, a 4.6, but he's going to make up for it in his ability to stay upright and to keep on moving.
And that's a great point, too, because I think people forget this is the running back who not only took college football by storm, but he put Cincinnati's top linebacker out of a game who was 6'4", 250, and boom, took him head on head right at the goal line and basically knocked him out, took him out of the game.
Yeah,
not many guys who are 5'8", 240 can do that.
And look, we already chant T. Why can't we go Scatterboo? We can do that. Perfect.
I do think regardless, right, I think there's an opportunity to kind of move away from Travion because he's of older age. He's been around for a while. And then that's where maybe a trade back scenario in the 4th round or the 5th round, you get a later pick, and that's when you get your running back. Don't know if Scatterboo will be around that far, but I know Kiner might be there. Look, I'm a UC guy. Bring the UC dogs.
We're UC. We're all. He covers UC. So yeah, we're all UC guys. UC knocked him out.
If you could find a way to keep Corey Kiner home, I think that would be a perfect fit for Cincinnati too. But overall, I expect them to take a running back, whether that's 4th, 5th, 6th, or 7th round.
Yeah.
Now, regardless of it, Cam Scatterboo is probably getting 3rd round, 4th round grades right now, just heading into the combine. So it's going to be interesting. It really will.
Now, I haven't heard this. Hopefully, Gimeno fixes the camera here. Brad here, and like I said, I haven't heard this. He's talking about the Titans. He said, do you think the Titans are serious about wanting Jake, meaning Jake Browning? If so, what's he worth? I have not heard that rumor. Have you?
No, I have not heard nothing either. Everybody is so locked in. If you're in if you're Brian Callahan in Tennessee, if you simply take anybody other than a quarterback at number one, you simply lost the draft. You simply lost it.
Game on. Have you heard anything while you're off? So, Brad in the comments said that Tennessee's interested in Jake Browning. Have you heard? I haven't heard anything about that.
I haven't heard that. It makes a lot of sense though. Unrestricted free agent for a second year, really cheap. Could get, second, third round pick for him.
Well, ESPN makes a lot of shit up too, Brad.
but I would say this. Neil. It depends. It depends on the quarterback class. I'm not sure Tennessee likes this quarterback class. I think they like Abdul Carter a little bit more than any of the quarterbacks that are in this class.
It's either Carter or you go a quarterback. And from what a lot of reports are saying, that they're high on Cam Ward. And I mean, Cam Ward is probably the number one quarterback in this class. But if it's me and I'm a GM right now, I'd stay away from this quarterback class, frankly.
I'd stay away too, dude, to be honest. Because I don't think either one of them are, which I could be wrong. I don't know if either one of them are franchise guys. Good.
I got to leave here soon, but I mean, what about a guy like Dillon Gabriel, right? Oregon, they just had success with Bo Nix, kind of a one-read quarterback. He comes in, plays a very simplified offense, and Brian Callahan, just has to decipher. He's been doing it really well with UCF, and last year with Oregon had some great success there. One of the top offenses in the league. Why not take a chance later on in the draft? Get a guy that maybe is in the middle of the pack and try to fight for the future while shaping out
the first thing people will look at Dillon Gabriel is, why did you stay in college for 5 years? Why did you transfer to 3 different schools? That's going to be the two first questions.
That's the Nix story. That's the Bo Nix story. And how many touchdowns do you have this year? Like 29?
That is true. That is true. But Dillon Gabriel, I'm sorry, I just do not like the guy. And every time I hear the name Dillon Gabriel, what pops into my head? A young 18-year-old Sauce Gardner saying, "Give me that."
Yeah, pick 6, Sauce Gardner, left side. That was the Gabe Davis too, right?
Gabe Davis. Yep.
Exactly. All right, boys. Take care. Have a good one.
All right, see you, Giovanni. Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
See you, brother. All right. So Terry has texted me, and he will not be able to join us. So last little bit here, it's just gonna be you, me, Neil. So let's finish up the free agent talk, then we'll roll into some Bearcat stuff here. So we covered the offensive line, covered the defensive line, covered safeties, a little bit of running back there. I would be surprised. I'll put it this way: what if the rumors are true that Tennessee wants Jake Browning? I'm not so sure that I would be quick to trade him. It would definitely be for a draft pick. I mean, do you think if they were to trade Jake, what could we get? I wouldn't take anything less than at least a second round pick for him. I don't know if we can get that for him, but that's what I would be asking for.
See, I don't think you could get a second round. I think somebody would maybe give you a 4th or a 5th at the highest, just because, I mean, he showed quality time when Joe was out. But on top of it, if they're going to make that trade and potentially make him your number one guy, if they don't like this quarterback class, Cincinnati will have to ask high. Mm-hmm. However, I just don't see Brian Callahan in Tennessee being, oh, hey, let's give up a second rounder when they already are awful all the way around. And who knows? Say they do go with Abdul Carter at 1. They rock with Mayonnaise Boy for another year, and who knows? But
I still, for some reason, I still think Mayonnaise Boy could be an okay quarterback. I mean, just like Shador or Cam Ward, and I could be completely wrong. They could come and they could ball out and be awesome. I just don't know. I especially when we have Travis Hunter sitting there, who I know is a generational player. I know that dude by himself can change a game for you, either on the offensive side or defensive side of the ball. That's why I'd have a hard time passing him up, because he's literally the number one pick should be a generational talent. I don't know if those two are. I know Travis Hunter is.
Yeah, and it's a good question too. But the biggest thing surrounding Travis Hunter right now is he's listed in as a DB heading into next week's combine. There's going to be so many questions. Hey, are you going to try and play both positions? That's going to be the number one question. But on top of it, if they say Tennessee goes with Travis Hunter first and they elect to just play him on the defensive side of the ball, then it's like, okay, well, you're back to square one on the offensive side of the ball. Then what do you do? Because, I mean, you look at their wide receivers right now. They traded A.J. Brown a couple years ago. They traded DeAndre Hopkins. I don't even know who their wide receiver one is down there.
I have no idea. To be honest, I have no idea.
You have Treylon Burks, who was a top wide receiver a few years ago, bust since he's came out for the NFL. I mean, they need multiple different positions down there. And, I mean, I think if you go out there and you get a quarterback for Tennessee, I think a guy like Cam Ward or Shadur Sanders, people are going to want to play with those two, especially with all the hype surrounding the two.
Right.
So,
and that can always change. It can always change once you get to the combine, and they can go out there and they can ball out, and I could completely change my mind. They get on their pro day. I mean, we see a long ways to go until the draft, so a lot of things can still change here.
Now, unless Travis comes out next weekend and runs like a 4.28 or 4.29, I'm still set on that number one pick, either being a quarterback or Abdul Carter.
There you go. All right, Rob here. The Bengals, if the Bengals do this offseason correctly, it could be the most optimistic I've ever been about the team's future. If they mess it up, I could say the exact opposite. Yeah, I'm with you. That's exactly why I keep saying this is the most important offseason in Bengals history. And I said, I think they're going to knock it out of the park. That's just, to me, that everything is pointing in the direction of they've got the money. They're going to keep their guys, and they're going to go out and actually get some free agents that'll help us this year. But to me, like I said before, I would love them to get T's contract done before. I think next Tuesday is when they have to place the franchise tag on. I think it's next Tuesday, and then they have to July 15th or something to negotiate. I would really prefer them to not have to tag T. I would rather them sign him, and I really want them to get Jamar and Trey signed before the free agent period starts, because I think that's March 15th or something like that. I don't know. Maybe you can look it up. It's somewhere around there. It's coming up quickly where the free agent period starts. It'll be optimal if the Bengals can get all that done before that. Then they've got their money. They know exactly how much money they've got to spend in free agency because they got all the money allotted to Jamar, T, and Trey. But we'll see what happens. But it is a very, very interesting offseason. Now, with that being said, you got something to add there?
No, you're good.
All right, with that being said, let's roll into our University of Cincinnati Bearcats, who the last two games have looked a lot like last year's games, which is better than what they looked like about a month and a half ago, where they weren't really even in the games. They are playing better. They, in my opinion, cannot finish a game. And they were up by, I want to say 6 with 3 minutes left to go. Is that right, Neil? On I guess what's your
Wednesday night? Yeah, they were up by 6 with about 3 minutes to go, and then the collapse came.
Yeah, and the problem I saw, which I saw Jizzle James and Day trying to make shots and trying to take over, but there was no. They went away from their offense. What was working is driving and passing, or guys cutting to the basket, ball movement. There was no ball movement. It was Day and it was Jizzle dribbling, trying to get their shots off, and it didn't work. It's like once it gets down to crunch time, we forget what happens or what was working.
Yeah, and I think that's too on the offense you saw on Wednesday night. I think that was a testament to a guy like Simas Lukosius being out injured. And, I mean, in that aspect, it literally came down to, all right, let's see what Jizzle James and Day Thomas can provide on the offensive end. Because, I mean, this season has not gone as planned for Dan Skillings. Everybody knows that. I know there's a lot of things he's dealing with on and off the court. So, I mean, he's trying to fight through everything, trying to find his rhythm. Obviously, overcoming that knee injury has never been easy, especially when it's a meniscus tear. It's something that's never easy to bounce back from. It could really mess with you mentally. So trying to overcome an injury like that and get back to your old playing self, the way he had the confidence and everything, it's hard. It really is. But Jizzle James has been on an absolute heater as of lately. Everybody knew he was going to cool off one time. But the thing that really frustrated me, Jeff, watching that game Wednesday night, was Cincinnati knew they were going to be without Simas Lukosius, right?
Mhm.
Why are you not attacking the rim and drawing contact?
Dude, I'm screaming at the TV to do that.
Because you
And
have
that's,
guys who are good at that in Jizzle
yeah,
James and Day Thomas.
and they
But
weren't doing
the
it.
fact is, you only get 7 free throws,
Mhm.
and your 2 makes. Who makes them? Your 7'2" center in Aziz Bandaga, who we know has been a good free throw shooter all year. We've seen the work he's put in throughout the season, but 7 free throws and you go 2 for 7 and you lose by 3, you're not going to win many ball games.
Now, Brad wants to know, is CMOS back tomorrow?
Honestly, we haven't even heard anything on an injury update. We've tried to kind of gather some information, but after seeing a couple videos and how he went through warm-ups, it's probably going to be difficult. Just off my initial opinion, I mean, everything he went through in warm-ups at West Virginia, from the videos we saw from Scott Springer to Keegan Nicholson to all the other guys, the West Virginia guys on scene out there, he was doing everything offhand, right? Left-handed, shooting left-handed, one-handed shots, passing left-handed. He was keeping that right shoulder tucked in. Obviously, I'm fairly certain it's the same shoulder that he injured when he got hit by a car last year. So everybody who kind of knows that scenario knows if CMOS Lukosius takes himself out of a game, it must be pretty serious.
Well, one, and I've said this kind of tongue in cheek. Last year, when he got hit by a car, he actually started playing better. So who knows? Maybe once he comes back, he'll find his stroke back, because he's been MIA pretty much since the Big 12.
He's been MIA since Big 12 started. Once the competition ramped up.
Yeah, he has not been anywhere close to what we needed him to be.
And also, too, Jeff, I think on that aspect for Cincinnati is everybody anticipated this team to have 4 or 5 guards who were able to come in and compete, right? Jizzle James and Day Thomas have been healthy, right?
Yeah.
CMOS Lukosius banged up, hasn't really performed to what people had expected. The Connor Hickman injury hurts more than people think. I'll say that. Hurts this team more than people might realize on the outside, because he was that guy who was going to come in here and probably give you 10 to 12 points off the bench. Cincinnati does not have that guy who can be, okay, I got a killer mindset. Let me go get this jumper. Let me attack the rim. You saw what Connor Hickman was able to do when he had that mindset versus Xavier, right? Completely altered and changed that game. Cincinnati's desperately missing that touch, and it just sounds like Hickman won't be returning this year, unfortunately, after getting surgery yesterday on the broken foot, which is now they went in, did a surgery, and it sounded like it was going to be a small surgery, and then they went in and sounded like the injury was more severe than initially thought. So it's going to sideline him for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that sucks. That's not good. I mean, like I said, at this point, the Bearcats are not going to make determined. They'd have to go run the table at the Big 12. Losing Wednesday night to West Virginia was huge. I think we had one win. I think that's it.
Yeah, and it was 0 before the other night where BYU said, let me put 100 points and beat Kansas by 40. Right. So that jumps up to a quad win game. But then you had the UCF game. That was a quad 1 game. And then UCF is just cratered, like gone downhill quick. So, I mean, that turns into a quad 2 game. But Cincinnati is, if they're wanting to make the NCAA tournament, Jeff, you got to win your next 5. You got to go in and win at least 2 or 3 of the Big 12 tournament. Because right now, Jeff, I hate to say it, they're playing at 11:30 on day 1 in Kansas City in the Big 12 tournament on a random Tuesday morning.
Which would suck, because I'm trying to do a watch party at Moorline House then. So I'm hoping it's not that time. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's been a very disappointing year, to say the least. I was hoping they were starting to get it turned around. They're playing better. They're still not playing good enough. Where in your mind, I don't think West is, unless they go and lose the rest of the games and it's a complete and total collapse. I think West is going to be back next year. Where does that put him at as far as on the hot seat next year? I think it's pretty hot if he doesn't, because this is 6 years in a row that we have not made the NCAA tournament. That's a long time for us, and you used to live in the tournament. We would make it every year. We'd get bounced in the first round, but we'd at least be in the tournament every year. 6 years without making it is a long, long time. This is West's 4th year. I've always said you got to give him at least 3. Well, this is his 4th. They should be his 5th. How hot is the seat going to be, you think, next year?
I think the seat will definitely get a little bit warmer, but I don't, for all the people who have been in my Twitter DMs, been in my messages. Guys, Cincinnati is not going to fire Wes Miller. They're not. Reason being, he just landed a top 20 recruit. The buyout of $10 million. You give him one more year. You know why? Because it's year 1 to year 2 to Big 12, right? Obviously, things didn't go as planned this year. But look at the Big 12. It is a given challenge night in and night out. Year 2 in the Big 12 was different from year 1 because think about it, Jeff. People forget that there has been no bye weeks.
Yeah.
In Big 12 play, they have played 20 games in 12 weeks. No bye week. Yeah, the seat might be a little hotter next year, but overall, they're not going to fire him. So for those who have been in my Twitter DMs, which I have not answered, so it's just not going to happen.
I don't think they're going to fire him. I mean, and I don't want to fire him because I know he's got a great class coming in next year. So I'm like holding out hope that he can turn this around because I do think he's a good coach. And it's like sometimes like, is it the coach or is it the players? You know, like, is he coaching them up to do what we want them to do? You know, when we're talking about, you know, drive and kick and all that cool stuff. And then the players just don't do it, or what do you think it is?
I think right now it's a confidence thing. But on top of it, you look down at what this roster was like on paper, right? Connor Hickman goes down with an injury. Simas Lukosius gets banged up. The injury that desperately, and I'm saying desperately, hurt Cincinnati from the jump, Jeff, was Tyler McKinley.
Yeah.
Flat out was the injury that hurt Cincinnati because Wes Miller even said it. We saw it in the offseason. He was well ahead of where many people projected him and was going to see significant time probably there at the front court. And what Tyler McKinley does so well that guys like AP and Aziz Bandaogo don't do is he is a legit stretch four. He can step out. He can knock down a couple threes for you. He can be physical. He can put the ball on the floor back against the post. Let me go get you a bucket kind of player. He's got that killer mentality. But on top of it, that injury is what really hurt Cincinnati, in my opinion. Because on top of it, look at the front court, right? Arrington Page is still a little bit away in terms of development and everything. Aziz Bandaogo has been your defensive guy. Not much of an offensive game.
He's gotten better. I have been impressed with Aziz here lately of actually posting up and trying to make some plays. He's at least trying to do it.
He's trying, yes.
Yeah.
But in the end, you definitely miss a guy like Tyler McKinley there in the post because if you think about it, if you ran up a lineup out there of McKinley at the 4, Dylan at the 3, whatever it might be, Jizzle, Simas, Dylan, Tyler, AZ, say that's your starting 5. Obviously, things are different now. But that's a pretty big starting 5.
Yeah.
Tyler McKinley 6'10", Dylan Mitchell 6'9", Aziz Bandaogo's 7'1", Dan Skillings, if he's in there, Simas Lukosius 6'7", Jizzle James 6'4". Like that's the size Cincinnati anticipated on having this season.
And you need that type of size to play in the Big 12. You need that. You need that size.
Yeah, and I think that's what really hurt Cincinnati. But on top of it, I think too, like the roster construction was there. It was finding the rotations, right? How do these guys complement each other? They don't have a let me put my back down, go get a post up real quick.
They don't. That's frustrating for
Cincinnati is going to need that. And I would not be shy or not be caught off surprise to see them make a move at a position like that in the transfer portal, Jeff. I would not.
So, and that's the different thing with college basketball now is like before, like this time, 5 or 6 years ago, I could ask you like, all right, who do you think the projected starters are next year? But you don't know that because of the transfer portal of who's going to stay here that's on this roster and who are they going to add. We know some of who's the big recruit that's coming in next year. I always forget his name.
Sean Abib will be starting next year.
Yes,
that's a gimme.
Yeah, that's the one gimme. I mean, I think we all know he will be here. The rest of them, I don't know. And the way things have been going with Dan Skillings, do you think Wes can keep playing him right now the way he's playing? Because he's turning the ball over. He's not making good decisions. Defensively, he's not moving. I mean, I think the knee might still be giving him problems. Can Wes keep playing him?
I think so. And the reason I say that, too, is people also forget Dan's only played basketball since sophomore in high school. So he's only been playing organized basketball for 5 years, roughly. So it's people kind of forget, like, the game's still kind of coming to him a little bit. Obviously, he's made those big leaps and jumps real quickly. But in a Big 12, in a conference like the Big 12, you're going to have your ups and the downs. And then the knee injury on top of it, I don't think he's fully gotten back to his old self. Like in covering the team, covering Dan, this is his first injury, right? Everybody knows how much that first injury as an athlete can really mess with your mental aspect. Like it's going to be hard to find your confidence back, right? Once you get hurt, I know me personally, when I got hurt playing sports, it was like, okay, how am I going to bounce back from this? I'm scared this is going to happen again. One wrong movement and it's going to happen again. So that's the kind of attitude and the mindset he's probably dealing with. And on top of it, you have these absurd travel schedules. You got 20 games a year, trying to stay on top of your classes, all that kind of aspect. And then you hear the outside noise. And the reason I say this, Dan Skillings will probably be in Cincinnati next year. And the reason I say that being he was Wes Miller's first recruit coming out of the Wes Miller era. And on top of it, Dan Skillings and Wes Miller's relationship is unlike no other. Just follow the backstory for those who haven't followed it, give you the brief rundown. Dan's family owns a barbershop in Philadelphia. Wes Miller went out there, spent multiple days with his family and Dan at his family's barbershop. That's how the recruiting kind of jumped. They got a great relationship with the family and everything, and with Dan. So that's why I don't see anything happening. Because let's be honest, Jeff, how many college coaches are you finding nowadays in college athletics who is going to a barbershop 10 hours away to spend time with the recruit and his family and get chopped up in the process?
Exactly. And you could tell the relationship they had with Dan jumping in on Wes's press conferences every once in a while. So yeah, we'll see. It's gotta turn around. I'm hoping they at least end the season well on a good note and figure out how to close out some of these games. But it's gonna be an uphill battle. Neil, I appreciate you being on the whole hour. Plug some stuff before I let you go, man.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me over at MeyerNeil6 on Twitter. Obviously, for those who do follow me, I appreciate that. I got some good stuff working in the works. Going to have a couple great episodes of the Bearcat Blitz episode. Working on about 3 or 4 extremely good guests coming on. So just got to lock in those details there with my guy Russ Heltman. Follow us over at the Front Office News, CincinnatiRivals.com. Continue to rock with us over there. A lot of great content up there. Obviously, transfer portal's coming back. Spring football is going to be starting here in 2 weeks. Rivals Elite Camp Series are going to be coming back. You'll be seeing a lot of good content there. So continue to rock with us over at the Front Office News or Cincinnati Rivals.
There you go. You also got the podcast with our boy.
Alex Meach and JT, the Bearcat Tip-Off Talk. Make sure to tune into that one as well.
Exactly. All right, Neil. Hey, go enjoy your Friday night, brother.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
See you later. All right, guys. As always, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I do. Go follow Neil. He does a great job covering the Bearcats. Go follow G Money on Twitter. He does an awesome job of giving his thoughts on the Bengals. They're always on Spaces a lot too. If you're into listening to that, go ahead and check those guys out. Now, for me, final thoughts here with the Bengals free agency. I said I'd love them to get Nick Bosa. It would be so cool if the Chargers do release Nick Bosa and the Bengals can get him and the Bengals could sign a guard like Zeitler or Tevin Jenkins. Those two moves alone would be absolutely huge for the Bengals, I think. Or if you get Khalil Mack, or if you get Sweat from get somebody, another veteran pass rusher, would be huge. And getting a solid guard. If you do those two moves in free agency, then you can do BPA. When they only have 6 picks, you really want the Bengals to do best player available with those picks. If you get a solid edge, you get a solid guard. Now, I know that doesn't really fix the interior, but Michaela Jackson and Chris Jenkins showed improvements, and I think they're going to get better. You still need to add to that, but it's not as big to me as the edge because you really don't have another edge. And the guard play has been terrible. With that being said, you never know, the Bengals might keep Kappa. I don't know. G Money said that he thinks they're going to keep Zach Moss and Stone. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. We'll see what happens. I mean, the thing is, if Kappa is healthy, because he hasn't been healthy, he could play better. But we'll see what happens. I still want to get another veteran guard. with that being said, my Bearcats playing tomorrow night to take it on TCU. You can actually watch it on ESPN2. I'll be watching. It's been a frustrating year watching them. I hope West gets this figured out and they just build upon stuff for next year. Now, last night's game was awesome. If you guys got to watch any of the USA versus Canada, it went into overtime, and unfortunately, Canada won with the last-second shot by Connor McDavid. If you're not a hockey fan, I hope you got to watch the game because that is the essence of hockey. That is a high-intensity, hard-hitting. The guys left it all on the line for their countries. That is what sports is all about last night. I would have loved to have been there in Boston watching that. It was off the hook. So it was a great showcase for hockey. Next Saturday, I'm going to go to the outdoor game up in the Horseshoe in Columbus. You'll be watching the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Red Wings play. That's going to be a lot of fun. So if you guys have never watched hockey, I hope you got the chance to watch it last night. That was a great display of hockey. Anyway, thanks for watching. I've been live streaming on ZTV, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. You can follow me on all those, along with Instagram, Threads, and TikTok. Also, the podcast, if you want to listen to anything we said over the last hour and 5 minutes, I'll be posting it up later on tonight. I got yesterday's podcast up late. It's up there now. So make sure you guys check the podcast out. If you're listening to it, it's on BeanPod, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher Play, pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. Do me a favor. Make sure you rate, like, and review. Leave a 5-star review and a comment so more Cincinnati fans can find my podcast. It just helps the algorithm. Also, 170 people watching right now. Do me a favor. You guys are on Facebook. Hit the thumbs up or send the super stickers. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up. Like, subscribe, share. It's a growing community. I'm almost to 2,600, I think, subscribers on YouTube, which is great. It's continuing to grow. Let's grow that even more. I love to get up to 3,000 as soon as I can. And it all is helped by you guys. I appreciate you. And to be fair, as my cord pops out of my headphones, I really need to get some new headphones. These things pop out all the time. Shout out to the sponsors of the show, and they are as followed. Priority Lawn and Landscaping. You can check them out. Give them a call for all your lawn and landscaping needs at 513-430-6114. That's 513-430-6114. Once your grass cut, shrubs trimmed up, flower beds cleaned out, snow removed like we have. Hopefully we're done getting snow. Give Priority Lawn and Landscaping a call. Also, the show is brought to you by T Properties. Quality housing for quality people. Check out the website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. Also, my West Side peeps, you're looking for a place to go hang out tonight, go check out Hail Mary's. It's your ticket to the game right in the heart of Cheviot or Cheviot. Got a big-ass TV screen, beer specials, food trucks, free parking right across the street. Again, that's Hail Mary's. Your ticket to the game. Tell Ice sent you. Also, shout out to Meyer Windows and Doors. I got them in my house. I highly recommend you get them in yours. Check the website at www.meyercincinnati.com for all your window and door needs. They're easy to clean, energy efficient. They look great. Meyer Windows and Doors. Again, I'll be doing a draft show live at Moorland Lager House. First night of the draft. Come check me out there. I'll also be doing, not Moorland Lager House, excuse me. That'll be at MLT's. I will be at Moorland Lager House for the Reds opening day. And we are hoping to put together a Bearcat watch party between now and then. Going to figure out what date, try to set it up, hopefully get a couple former Bearcats there, do a podcast, have some fun. So make sure you guys check out more on Lager House and everything that got going on down there. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful weekend. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Weekend nights, the city roars. Tune in loud, turn up some more. Cincinnati show, it's time to play. Sports with strawberry ice today. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. CTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ices on the mic, energy, it's pure delight. Every touchdown, every goal. Feel the pulse. heart beats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Every touchdown, every goal, feel the pulse that's in your soul. Cincinnati heart beats strong. Strawberry ice will lead the throng. Feel the crowd, it's electric now. Shouting loud, they all know how. The CTV got what we crave. Sports with ice, it's waves and waves. Tigers strike and Bengals roar. Every game we want some more. Tune it in and feel the thrill. Strawberry ice, he's giving chills. 5:30 sharp, don't be late. TTV, the sports awaits. Strawberry ice, he's on the mic, energy, it's pure delight.